Okay, so
we all read the notes, I'm sure.
I rely on Lester to do that.
Season 7.
Hey, welcome to the Rubber Boots podcast, brought to you by friends at betsafe.net.
betsafe.net.
Do you know, you ever get the WhatsApp, you get like mysterious messages from people sometimes? I got my first one on WhatsApp. It was a person named Emily who said, "Hey, how are you?" from a California area code.
Hey, I think she messaged me as well.
Now it's awkward.
What's going on? I thought WhatsApp was the secret circle, and now it's been penetrated. Oh, yeah. Guys, Lester's not here today, but it looks like we have some secret guests coming on. Ooh, I lost the waiting room. Hold on a second. Let's see who it is. Let's see who it is, everybody.
It's the most planning we've ever done.
Oh, look who it is.
Do this video now, eh? This is you guys have gone big stuff.
We're advanced. We were kind of hoping that you wouldn't be technologically advanced. You wouldn't know it was video, and you'd just come on like in your underwear.
Well, I was gonna say, hang on a second.
I think we got that.
So we were kind of right, but we just didn't get it.
I am. There he is. I don't know what to do on a phone. You get a phone call, and then it gives you these different options. But anyway, if Rod Smith Baby were here, and he's not because he's ever since the pandemic, he's just gone away, and
he's in prison.
He and Emilio and some special guests with the rules. You have to wear a mask, but mask only at his compound. So anyway, what would you have had me in, Jimmy? Like a leopard. I was just thinking like a leopard skin robe. Yeah.
Well, basically, I'd picture you the way Jamie McLennan actually dresses at home, which is like a silk robe. Have you ever seen Noodles? Noodles dresses like Hugh Hefner.
Really?
Noodles does have a compound a little bit west of me, and he wears silk robes around the house all the time and slippers.
So wait a minute, you've seen this?
Well, I've seen like pictures and videos, and Steph will once in a while send me a photo, and I think once in a while they end up on like the Instagram. Like his daughter will be playing out front in the front yard, and he'll be in slippers and a silk robe. Stuff you've seen this, haven't you?
He's done overdrive in a robe before.
Wow!
So, during the pandemic.
So Noodles is the real Rod Smith Baby. Noodles baby.
Noodles baby.
Noodles baby.
How are you, buddy? How you been?
Good, thank you. Just got one thing to say here. Puffy's hypotheticals. Who really gives a crap?
Come on.
All the ladies want to hear is the Rod Smith recap.
That's unfair.
Blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah, blah.
Roddy is the best.
Boy, good to see you, Roddy. Good to see you, Stoff and Timmy.
I don't even know if we actually mentioned this to you, but I think we made a commitment in the last episode of the pod last year to bring back the Rod Smith recap, and like most of our commitments, we just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah,
we will.
Was Rod Smith Baby holding out for too much money, or what?
Yeah, I don't know if we could afford you anymore as the voice of CFL now. It's probably gone next level, has it not?
You could always afford me. Rod Smith Baby, I'm not so sure. That's true. So no, it's all good.
I've actually been hearing a lot of Roddy the last 48 hours in my house because I'm back on the CFL gig this weekend. Roddy's been kind enough. Because you don't go to the bosses or anything. You just go to Rod and say, "Are you allowed? Am I allowed back on the show?" And then Rod will, make some sort of gesture with his hands like a sheik and say yes or no, or just the thumbs up or thumbs down. And so I've been I rewatch. I don't rewatch the whole season because I know Puffy would scoff and say I don't believe that. But I rewatch like the games. So I rewatch I'm doing Regina Calgary this weekend. So I rewatched the Saskey Calgary games, and then I watch all of their games all season on those 10-minute recaps on CFL.ca. So it's just been a bevy of Rod voices from week to week to week, flowing into my head. And I do watch them in my underwear. So there you go.
Very nice.
Rod, by the way, I still have this. I have the same thing. I don't know how to put my phone on ignore. So when I get calls through, I disappear for a second as well. I just have to decline all the calls. So you're not alone.
I won't let it happen this time because I'll just, it'll just, if you wait long enough, it'll just go away. Right. So I've learned it now. So
You're replacing Lester this week on the podcast.
Does that mean I have to provide the music?
Yeah, you have to sing all.
You have to
sing all the themes.
Yeah. True.
Let's see if you can remember. Let's see if you can sing the week that was. Let's discuss the week. Come on, what on with Roddy, baby, and the Rubber Boots podcast too.
In fairness, Bob, we don't know them either.
Lester's rate just went through the ceiling.
See, the Puffy's hypotheticals one was the one that really stuck in my head. Mm-hmm. So
we haven't done. Puffy's pretty lazy this year. We're all lazy, but Puffy's taking it to a new level. So
that's what makes the show so good, Jimmy.
Yeah, he does one hypothetical per season, basically.
Well, we were going to do one today, but I actually forgot the one that I come up. Yeah.
Puffy comes to me last week during a game and says, Jimmy, I got this great hypothetical. And he gives it to me. And I'm like, Puffy, that's a great hypothetical. And this morning I'm saying, Puffy, let's do that hypothetical you mentioned. He goes, I can't remember it. And I go, yeah, I can't remember it either.
Yeah.
Instead, you talk about that. Now, by the way, so the video podcast, is this like
it's a show.
You're flourishing.
I mean, it's on. You get a lot of after the. It's gonna debut after the Grey Cup. You know how they put like the coveted season premiere after the Super Bowl. This will debut after the Grey Cup. As soon as the Cup's awarded, boom, you'll get to see this.
Oh, well, okay, awesome.
Our post-game show, then this.
Okay, you're right.
Great week.
It's going to be an awesome week for Roddy. He's going to be all over the place.
Wow. Yeah. So, well, hold back on predictions then. So, but anyway.
Well, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on because we haven't seen you all season long here on season 7.
Yeah.
Season 7
so far, yeah.
And it's almost season 8. We changed seasons about 4 times during the season. And so we wanted to know how it's been. The CFL playoffs are starting for all our listeners and viewers. You guys know that. And Roddy's going to be a different role this year after. How many years did you host for, Roddy?
Since 2014. Okay. And so what's that? Six seasons, because we didn't have one last year.
Right.
And I also did in 1997. And then I was bumped by a guy named Duffy in 98, and I got to do some play-by-play back then. So that was kind of so 2 little CFL careers, one a bit in the late 90s, and then took about 15 years away from that, and then got back into it again. So
wait a second, though. You hosted the year before I hosted?
I was host in 1997. We had a panel with Bob Obilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York, and then they cleaned house.
So wait a second.
I've never had Elks, James. They just cleaned house. So
I've never had this discussion with you ever. Were you upset that you were not hosting that anymore?
No. Oh, okay. No. I mean, I wanted to do. It's kind of a history repeats itself. I wanted the chance to do play-by-play, but
so you did. But were you full-time play-by-play there? Because we ended up doing Sports Center together. 2 years later?
A couple of years later, but at the time, I wanted a chance to do play-by-play. So they had to find another CFL host. Turns out it was kind of a significant upgrade, So, but anyway,
for that arguable.
How long did you last, Jimmy? How long did you do the CFL?
I lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, 98, 99, 2000. You were hosting Sports Desk with me,
right?
So 3. I think 3. Yeah.
It's funny because if I knew what I knew now, like I really did not know anything about the business back then, and hosting CFL and NBA was a pretty prestigious gig to start your career with. I think at the network. And then they came to me to do Sports Center.
It was still sports desk.
But I guess it was kind of because they brought Dave Randorf in to host CFL. There you go. There, Roddy. Roddy was the king of the scrums back then. Rod Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember your reporting days.
That's right.
Those are the glory days of Roddy.
Yeah.
But Randorf came in to host, and I can remember the first conversation I had with Randorf, who I knew already, but he's like, are you happy with this move? And that was the first time it clicked in with me that people were thinking, why the hell is he leaving, CFL and NBA to do Sports Desk? But it was because I got to do it with my man Roddy here. So how can you say no to that? And don't you think back then, like Sports Desk felt like the show? Like, and I'm not saying it's not now at Sports Center, but the prime time sort of Sports Desk felt like the biggest show on the network. Did you feel that way, Roddy?
I always enjoyed it. I mean, I wanted the chance to do other things, but it was always important to me. In fact, I ended up because I didn't want to be. If I'd stayed on the CFL play-by-play, I would have had to be on the road year round. That was the deal at the time. So even in the off season, I would have had other assignments and young family. I did not want to be on the road year round. So, but I was happy to do the desk. I always enjoyed it. Enjoyed working with you. We
lasted. We did not last very long together.
No, we didn't because, well, let's see what happened.
Well, ego.
Oh, you know what?
Egos.
Yes. No, yeah, egos collided. Yeah. And then there's the incident that I promised I won't talk about it.
Incident. Yeah. It'll be in
the Duffy incident. So.
When somebody writes the TSN book like that ESPN book, it'll be several chapters. The incident. There was no incident, folks. So you've transitioned back to that this year. Have you, after years of hosting and doing Sports Center in the off season, have you liked it?
Yeah, it's really been good. It's, I at least had a taste of it before it, so I knew what to expect. Although the one thing I hadn't done in the last couple of years, I'd filled in doing some games, but doing them back to back, like you do one, like last week, for example, we were in Montreal on the Friday evening, and then you got to be in Hamilton at 1 p.m. So you're bound to be tired, and you also have to be ready to go. So you got to be ready for both games before you do the first game. But it's a nice challenge. I like that. And it's been busy, but it's, and I'm as I get a little older and a little snow on the roof now. I'm happy with more mic time and less camera time. Although I'm making the exception for you guys. So but anyway, it's been nice, different aspect of it, and got a taste of it with Olympics too. And just before I call it a career, I wanted to give it a shot again. And so I'm going to get to do Grey Cup, and I'm really thrilled about that. I really am.
One of the good things, about going on the road is you sometimes get nights on the road, like nights, like good nights. And
so I've heard.
I don't want to talk out of turn because Roddy's but Roddy is one of my favorite when we do. It doesn't happen very often, but when we do get a beer, and you and I had one of my favorite nights ever when we were doing what we were in Ottawa for. Was I hosting? Was it the CFL final or semis?
Eastern Final 2018, I want to say.
Yeah. And you went out with your buddies in the afternoon, and then I met you later. And I think Roddy, that might have been a 24 beer day, maybe.
Now this is not a day before, 2 days before, right?
Oh yeah, no, no, 3. We came in 3 days.
It was like on the Tuesday.
It was actually. Yeah. It was 2 days. It was. We came in 2 days before because and that's actually legit.
There's recovery time.
There's a window there. Yeah. But that was one of my favorite all-time nights. Not as good as our night in London before the Olympics, which was me, Rod Black. Who was that? You, me, Rod Black. Who else was in on that night?
That Dave Randorf, you, me, Rod Miller? Black, and Gord Miller. And
that was a legendary night.
It was. The thing I remember about that in London, which by the way was a full week before, which was probably required. It was probably a good idea that we had a week to get ready after that. That was like, because the Olympics is so intense and there's so much work involved, like a week is probably a good idea to recover from anything at a London pub. So anyway, which closed early, by the way, another thing. But
I'm going to tell this story quickly, Rod. You're better with details, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. And I think we can tell this publicly now. First of all, I believe Samsung sponsored the Olympics and gave us all these brand new phones on that very day. And running for a cab at whatever in the morning when the bars closed, Rod Black fell and just completely destroyed his Samsung phone, which he was supposed to use throughout the Olympic Games because nothing else worked over there or something, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, it was impossible. Like the thing about London, you go out. This is London, England, and the subway. So what do they call the sub? What do they call them?
The tube.
The tube. I was going to call them the loo.
The loo.
They do. Well,
maybe for some, right? But
yeah. Anyway. So they shut down at I don't know, 12 or something or 1, some ridiculous hour, and so we were stuck, and we couldn't find a cab. So finally, we did get a cab. And we got back, and the night was very late at that point. I think there may have been more beverages consumed on the patio of our hotel.
Can I interject for a second?
You may.
Getting a cab was almost impossible because our hotel, the Hilton Docklands, was on the south side of the Thames. None of the cabbies wanted to go to the south side of the Thames. We had asked 3 or 4 ready to jump in, and as soon as we did, and they found out where we're going, they said, "No, get out." So
why is it a seedy area?
That cab that we finally got was like our last chance to get back. That's what I remember anyway.
So I'm guessing maybe 9 a.m. the next morning or 8 a.m. It's the big everybody who works for the Olympics pep talk.
Yeah.
Rick Chisholm. Keith Pelly, was he still there? Or was he gone by this point?
No, it was Rick Chisholm was running it, but it was the big production meeting. Yeah.
So everybody involved in the CTV consortium Olympic production was gathered in a hall together. And it's a little like, Jim Jones. It's a bit of a cult. They rally us and then we drink the Kool-Aid and we do the Olympics. But Roddy and Rod Black, correct? They had a long night and they didn't quite make it to the session in time. We had to take, it was planes, trains, and automobiles to get to the Olympic venue. I think we had to take like a bus and 2 trains or something like that. So Rick Chisholm is giving us the rah-rah speech and everybody's fired up. And the only person he mentions by name in the entire speech is Rod Baby.
No.
And it kind of goes like this. It's like, can't wait for these Olympics to begin. You guys have all done an amazing job. And thank you all for being here today at this mandatory session. Go ahead, Roddy.
I had voiced the tease. They previewed the big Olympic tease, and
which is the big 10-minute thing that starts the Olympic Games, and they've spent a year doing. And Chiz says, I want to point out one person who went out of his way, Rod Smith. Rod Smith, if you could stand up, please, because you did a remarkable job on this tease. Rod Smith. Randorf and I are at the back of the room, just giggling like little kids, trying not to laugh out loud because we know that Roddy hasn't made it there. And so then Rod Smith, this mandatory pre-Olympic session. Rod, the voice of the Olympics. Rod, are you? So Roddy's not here. And then about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes later, through a back door, which opens quite loudly, in walks Rod Black.
Can I give you the backstory to that too?
Yeah, of course.
When the 5 of us got back, we got that cab to take us back to the Hilton. Desperately got back. All you guys turned in. I mean, it was late. So Blackie and I decided we'll have one more, figuring that they have to be closing up at the hotel pretty soon. So we go out. There's this nice terrace, as you remember, overlooking the Thames from the Hilton. And so we decided, hey, they're still open. Let's just have one more, have a nightcap. So they brought us a couple of pops. And then I just casually said to them, when do you close? When's last call? And he says, when you say so, sir.
Oh, wow.
I looked to Blackie and he looked back at me. And the next thing you know, it was probably about 5, 6 in the morning. We decided this better be last call. And I think we had to get up at 8 in order to make it. So we jumped in it. We missed the bus. It was a bus leaving the hotel. All of you were on it. But he calls my room, and he is a different version of this, which is pretty hilarious too. But I guess we were feeling a little groggy. And so he didn't know where the meeting was, but I knew it was the media center was right beside the aquatic center because I'd been to the aquatic center just to get ready for the game. So I knew it was fairly close there. So we told the cab, drop us off around the aquatic center. Well, I thought it was beside it, and it sort of was beside it, but kind of the way, I don't know.
Toronto is beside Ottawa.
Yeah. Toronto's beside Ottawa, exactly. Because so we get out and then we'll just jog on over, and feeling great, by the way. And anyway, it was like in a cartoon that, it's off in the distance, and no matter how far you walk, it's still the same distance. It just never changes. We were walking for 15 minutes and the building didn't get any closer, and checking out the watch. And anyway, cold sweat, not feeling the greatest. I can't imagine why. And so that was it. So I can't believe, we were probably a good 15, 20 minutes late, but I had a lot of apologizing to do for that. But anyway, made the story later. You
more than made up for it. Rod, if any of our viewers / listeners forget, did swimming at that Olympics, which I think is one of the tougher. And well, you could say this, you've done play-by-play for a lot of sports over the years. Wouldn't you say swimming in an event like that where you have so many races is one of the toughest things?
It was hard because I hadn't done it before, and thankfully I was given about a year to get ready for it. But yeah, it is tougher with so many different races and so many, swimmers to get to know. The thing that compounded it, and I'm not complaining, it made it very exciting, but there was diving in the middle. So the day was swimming and then diving and then swimming again. So the chance to rest and reload
did not exist.
There wasn't a lot of time, but I wouldn't trade those. That was from a work experience. That's one of the most gratifying experiences I've had in my career. It was really good. And as said, that night we're talking about was a full week out. So we were all really, you know what? That was one of those things you couldn't afford to misbehave after that, because, and you well know from, having like primo hosting job there, that you got to be ready. You got so much research to do. So it was nice to have just a night out, the camaraderie and relieve some tension and everything else. Before
that was basically in most Olympics. That's it. You can get those nights out before, and it's rare in our business to get into a place a week before something. The night before is per usual thing. So the Olympics is special, and to have a week before to sort of get your bearings and everything, and you have an opportunity to do that a couple of times. Vancouver was the one Olympics where I broke all those rules, and because it was Canada and there was so much going on. Yeah. I went out a lot of nights during the Olympics, and I didn't sleep like 6-7 nights of that Olympics.
Yeah, I used to call those, Grey Cup especially, research assignments, because you got to find out what the people are doing.
Have to color. You got to get out there. Especially, I have to get local color.
Yeah.
I come back with all sorts of stories for the next day.
Can't be going to bed early. I mean, what good is that?
No, of course you can't. Now, I know, Roddy, you have a CFL call to prepare for the playoffs here in a few minutes. You should actually send me that number, because I should probably drop on that call.
Yeah, because are you with us now the rest of the way? Or are you?
Yes, I am. I'm out with Barker in Saskatchewan this weekend.
Perfect.
And then I'm out in Winnipeg Are you doing west or east?
I'm doing east semi, so I'll be in Hamilton, and then I'll be in Winnipeg for the Western final.
Okay, so we'll be in Winnipeg together. So we'll get in 2 nights early.
2 nights early. See, your viewers can see this look. Your listeners wouldn't be able to understand exactly what I'm doing. Night early, eh?
That'll be awesome, buddy. Well, you can stay with us if you want, but you got to go, no problem, because we're going to run through some of the other stuff we do on the pod. But I totally understand.
Please do. I got a few more minutes, so yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right. What was I going to say? I want to see if this person on WhatsApp, Puffy, did you respond to Emily on WhatsApp when she wrote you and said, "Hey, what's up"?
Is this for everyone to hear?
Come on, Puff.
Puffy, did you send her a picture?
No. I did go back and forth a little bit with Emily, but then
is this one of these like trapped Russian marriage things to get money out of you?
I'm assuming. So I mean, I did send the money, but I mean, it was for the surgery. So
didn't Dan O'Toole have like a long progressive relationship with one of these people?
He had several, like a fleet of these people. They contact him. I've had the same thing on WhatsApp, but they never have a name. It's just a foreign phone number, but it will be a picture of a young lady, and it'll say hello.
Okay.
Like I'm looking at one now, but yeah, Dan had, I believe, is a Russian named Olga who desperately wanted him to send her some money.
He kept conversing with her for a long time, did he not?
Yeah.
Did he secretly? I remember listening to a couple of these episodes. Did he secretly hope this was going to be his future wife?
Well, I mean, I think possibly if it would have worked out, he would have been quite happy with it. But I think he was just kind of keeping the gag going for the moment.
What's the end game here? Is the end game for them to eventually ask you for money?
Yeah, credit card.
And they just bring you along for a while? Credit card numbers or cash?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure they only hit.
Only one way to find out, Jimmy.
Well, I've actually brought this up as a segue because that's how Rod met his wife. If you could bring her on, she's with him now. Sorry, Roddy. You know what this podcast is about, Roddy. You were on it for several years. You come on here with full knowledge of what might happen.
Yeah. She used to ask about this podcast, and I was always very vague. I don't know how yet. I don't know if it's available.
Yeah,
listening to some Rod Smith baby character, but anyway,
Brooksy still hasn't listened to the podcast. Thank God. She doesn't know she's been a lingering character for the past 7 years. So it was funny. Last night, I actually did another podcast. I try to say yes to the podcast when people ask you to go on, and it was some guys up in Sault Ste. Marie. and the co-host was named Brandon Brooks, and his nickname was Brooksy.
Oh, nice.
So the whole podcast, I kept saying Brooksy. So I finished the podcast, and she's like, "That wasn't your podcast, right?" And I'm like, "No." She goes, "So you now have me on another podcast?"
Multiple.
You were talking about the bags again, were you?
I guess that's what I'm saying, Brooksy, as you would say.
It's the best.
Get that through your head.
Brooksy and I met my sister and her family for brunch downtown. We ventured downtown, which is rare on the weekend, and she took me to a designer luggage store. Have you heard of Rimowa luggage by any chance? Any of you guys? Rimowa luggage?
Do they have like wheels on them? That's his design.
Yeah, it's just
They
they're very
come with a
basic.
chauffeur.
They look like the old school luggage cases, like that a magician would carry his stuff in his pigeons, like they're hardcore metal things. But for whatever reason, these people have established themselves as like a Louis Vuitton type thing. So it's like a suitcase, and it's $2,500 for like a little like a carry on.
It's more than a plane ticket.
$2,000 or something. Yeah, it's insanity.
How many did you buy?
No, we didn't buy any. Brooksy she was perusing. She said she was perusing.
Christmas is coming.
No, she's fairly practical. She was like, "Well, this looks like a suitcase that'll last for life." And I'm like, for $2,000, I'd rather buy 10 suitcases that only last me 2 years so I can throw out. You know what I'm saying?
It does come with a 5-year guarantee here. So.
Roddy hasn't been on the pod this year, so Stoff, why don't you guide us through a little segment that you like to call, what's the one you do first now? Is it Rubber Boots?
I'm always surprised by what you bring up first, so we can do whatever you want. Would you like to react first or do breaking news?
Yeah, let's do Rubber Boots.
Rubber Boots reacts. Yeah, just the facts, Jack. That's what I'm talking about on this track. I play the sax, and I'll do it to the max. Rubber Boots reacts. What?
Here we go.
Here we go indeed. Rubber Boots reacts. What? Rubber Boots reacts.
All right. Well, we'll be reacting to the fact that I have several neighbors here that have been putting up their Christmas decorations since the beginning of November, which I find to be a little bit early. I think a proper cutoff might be this week here when we have American Thanksgiving. So I was going to get you guys to react to what you think is the appropriate date to put up Christmas decorations, holiday decorations, and more specifically, your actual Christmas tree.
Roddy's our guest, so let him answer first.
I always go by the December rule. It's got to be December.
December 1.
I like that. I mean, I'm going in the Home Depot. It isn't even Halloween, and I'm seeing Christmas stuff, and that kind of bugs me, to be honest with you. So, I see it now too. I mean, it doesn't offend me, but I don't want to feel pressured into putting it up until December. But I don't know. I'd have to. I don't think I've ever done it before December. Certainly not the tree. No way. Can't be.
Puffy?
I'm like a 2 weeks guy, like December 10th, 11th.
That's late. It's fairly late. Fairly late. Stoff, what are you then? What are you, December 2?
Well, we usually do this week here, like end of November. Nicole has a bunch of decorations she likes to put out the house, so it's a bit of a process. And they started making their way out this weekend. So
it's interesting that you say that because I put up all the Christmas lights yesterday. And by I mean I watched 3 guys.
Hold on a second.
Nice.
Seriously? You have professionals come in and do your lights?
Hold on, Puffy. The size of this guy's mansion. I'm surprised it wasn't a team of 10.
Are they like
Anchorage?
Are they rented? Are the lights rented?
Have you ever seen the Christmas tree in Times Square?
Yes. Same guys?
Same guy.
Same guy.
You're like, no. I want those guys. They know what they're doing.
Is it as many lights as the Griswold house in Christmas Vacation?
No.
Is it involved like that?
I did my own Christmas lights for most of my life. I was the dad that tried.
Till you became rich. And then you're like, I don't need to do this anymore. There's people for this.
That's not true. That I wasn't very good at it. And there was one particular year we have what do you call it? I think it's a Serbian spruce out in front of our house. It's very tall. And I tried, I spent 4 hours and then it just looked horrible. It looked like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree where there was like one light every 12 feet. And Brooksy kind of fired me on that day. And then the next year, I think I was away for something, CFL or hockey, and I came home and she'd had a company do it. She was so she loved it, and so now they just come and do it. And look, I'll just cop to it. We only do 3 trees or 4 trees, and I think I got sent the bill $700.
Okay.
Trees?
That's not crazy.
Yeah, that might be
but it's still, I mean,
me.
it's $700 you can put in your pocket. So I don't do this lightly. I don't throw away $700 lightly, gentlemen.
Jimmy.
But they do a wonderful job. And I will say this, and this could be the second part of your question, Stoff.
Mm-hmm.
Brooksy left the lights on last year. I'm going to say well into April.
Whoa.
So this is my question. You're paying these guys to put the lights up. Who takes them down?
They will also come and take them down.
As part of the 700?
Wait a minute.
Is it another 700?
No, I think it's only a couple hundred.
Like
So
when you say they were on, you mean they were attached to the house. You don't actually mean they were on until April.
Brooksy likes the light up situation. And we had this argument, like come mid-February, I said, Brooksy, enough. Plus, it's not really electronically responsible. It's a bit of a waste of energy. But, you know,
the $700, the $700 is the cheap part. You just see your power meter going.
The generator.
But it's not like the blue, green, and red lights. Although they've made a comeback, right? For a while, you had to have the little white shishi lights.
Yeah.
And then the colored lights made a comeback. I think these are the white shishi lights again we have currently. But they kind of look nice, and our neighbor leaves them on practically year round. And so I think Brooksy just says, well, if the neighbor's got them on year round, I can have them to whatever. I'm not agreeing with this. I'm just telling you the status of my life.
What do you guys think of those lights that they put it at the front of the house and it projects the lights onto the house?
Oh, like the patterns and stuff?
Yeah, like little lasers almost.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I did that for Halloween, like for just projecting ghosts and just other side. I think there might be a Christmas themed stuff that you can get, like these little rotating globes, and they get these different images going on in different colors and everything else. So
nice.
See, is it like it's an old school projector, like a film projector?
No. Well, it's just a light that it just rotates around, so you get these different like different shapes.
So you couldn't put put porn on there and broadcast porn off the side of your house in an off season, right? So which be funny.
Which, right around Christmas time, I can't think of anything better than do something like that.
Nothing says Christmas and family like some porn. I got an idea though, Jimmy. Next year, $650. You call me. I'll come and do your lights.
Oh, that seems like a deal.
Okay. I want to see samples of your work though. These guys are artists. I wouldn't pay them $700 if they were
put one
artists.
of those projectors, old school projector in front of your house. I'm gonna do hand puppets.
We'll do it for 500.
500, 650, 650. We got 500. We got
350. I'm into 350.
We got 350. We got 350. We got. Do we hear 2? Do we hear 250? 250. 250. 250. 250. 250.
250. Like Chevy Chase, I just need a ladder and a staple gun. Just get up on that roof and just. Anyway.
No, I actually miss it. It's one of those things, on a little first cold day of winter that I enjoyed doing, but I guess I just wasn't very good at it, and I have to admit my failures here. So,
do you put up the tree at least, or does someone?
I do put up the tree, but we do have the artificial tree now that we store in the basement that break out every year. We had the real trees for a long time, but
artificial trees are better almost,
and they are in a way. So I do put up the tree. The tree usually doesn't go up till. Brooksy wanted to put up the tree last week. I said, no, it's way too early. Plus, it's just her and me and the dogs here. And the dogs end up, they pee on the tree. They eat the presents under the tree. They do all sorts of nasty stuff under the tree. It's not good.
Hey guys, I got to go. I got to get a conference call for talking about games that will have already been played by the time this podcast runs, right? By the time it drops.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. No, they won't. We're up on Thursday, baby. We're up
Thursday
on Thursday.
Night. Yeah.
Oh, I thought on Thursday.
Stop turns this bad boy around.
All right, stop. So I'm going to miss the conversation about the Popeyes turkey, aren't I?
Why don't you give us a quick take now, and I'll fill people in after what it is. Quickly. Would you have a Popeyes turkey for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's for Thanksgiving. It wouldn't be my first choice, but my first choice might be like KFT, Kentucky Fried Turkey.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Can you imagine?
Have any of you guys ever had a deep fried turkey? Because that's a thing.
I have actually, and it's quite good. And you can cook them in a hurry. You can do them in a hurry.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Do them in about an
Roddy's
hour.
got to go. Roddy, I take back what I said. I'm still podcasting, so don't tell them I'm going to be on the call because I won't be on the call. All right. On the CFL.
This could be revenge.
Tell them you'll be on in 5 minutes.
Payback for London.
Because in fairness, in London, James did yell out, "Give Roddy some props." And then that's when he was like,
knowing that I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I will be there in Winnipeg, but I go to bed early now, Jimmy. Sorry.
Roddy, just before you go, I know you have to go. We've loved hearing you. I miss you hosting, although Kate Burness has done a wonderful job. But
Thank you.
I love hearing you call games.
Thanks,
you're the most versatile broadcaster in this country, and I can't wait to hear you call your first Grey Cup because it's well-earned, and it's going to be an honor and privilege to listen to you. So good luck on the call, and we'll see you in Winnipeg, buddy.
Means a lot to me coming from you. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
That's Rod Smith, baby. One of our best friends of the pod. Not just a friend of the pod, one of the best friends ever of the pod, and one of the greatest guys you will ever meet.
All downhill from here.
Yeah. Yep. What do we do now? This is like in past weeks when I leave and you two and Lester are left by themselves. If the king is gone, what's the point anymore?
It's true.
Love the Roddy.
Love the legend.
That story about London. Now, did we tell that in an earlier season of the pod? I always worry about that when we do that.
I actually don't know if we told that one. We've had Roddy on before, and we told the Grey Cup stories. Most from the road, but I don't think
we did that one. That was one of my favorite Olympic moments ever. It was Roddy not being in the room while Chiz was trying to give him props, because it would be one thing if Roddy didn't care, but Roddy cares. Right?
Oh yeah,
like Roddy cares about that stuff. He's a good guy. He doesn't ever get in trouble or anything.
He likes to have a good time, but he's very professional.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way to put it. And he would never say that because he's shy, but I would say that Roddy probably has an evening, like he has a night, maybe a couple of times a year. He goes on a trip, I think Super Bowl week with his buddies. Mm-hmm. And that have a couple of nights, but once every 2 or 3 years, either at Grey Cup or somewhere, I'll get down with Roddy, and that man's a legend.
You can put a shift in.
That day in Ottawa, I met him like 12 hours into the shift, and it went on for another 7 hours.
Those are the best days, though, when you have those ones.
They're amazing. They're very rare, especially in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Would you not say? Okay, where were we? We were. Did we get to things that I saw on Twitter? No, we were doing this Christmas trees. That was Rubber Boots.
Yes, we reacted to Christmas.
We reacted very well
to the incoming season of Christmas. Now it is.
I'll just say, by the way, I don't care if people celebrate early. Seems a little early November, but I don't care if people get in the spirit and go for it. And as far as the lights, you should probably have them down by the end of January. But if you come by the Brooksy Estate here, they're going to be here in March. I guarantee you that.
I've actually enjoyed driving around and seeing people with Christmas lights up, but I'm not putting them up that early.
No. All right, let's get to Rubber Boots. Breaking news. Damn it! We just can't.
We did it. We did it.
Coordinate that. We'll never be able to do one of those, TikTok or Instagram dance videos where we do all the same moves, right?
Hey, wasn't
the new ones like this?
Wasn't Bump supposed to choreograph a dance for us?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we forgot that. Yeah. What a shocker.
Coming season 8. Big time dance stuff.
Bump is the best.
Breaking news.
This week, it's looking again like Jared Goff will be out for the Detroit Lions as their starting quarterback, since they are playing on a short week on Thanksgiving. And as we saw this past weekend, his backup is one Tim Boyle.
Is that your background, by the way? Is that your background?
Yes, that is
Timmy Boyle.
That is Timmy Boyle in his college years at his second stay at a school, which was Eastern Kentucky. We'll get there in a second, because this story of getting to the NFL is pretty interesting. One of my buddies pointed this out to me the other day. So basically, our man Tim Boyle did 3 years at UConn, where he threw for over 1,300 yards. He wasn't
in 3 years.
Yes, he wasn't a starter most of the time, so he'd go in for games such and such. 1,300 yards in 3 years, only 1 touchdown, but 13 interceptions. So 1-13 touchdown to interception ratio. Top that all off in those 3 years. He had minus 122 rushing yards.
Wait a second.
Minus.
This is UConn. This is UConn. A good basketball school. Not exactly Alabama or Clemson when it comes
However,
to
still a Division One school.
Division One.
Okay.
Still a Division One school,
Fair
but
enough.
lower down. Yes.
Fair enough.
So at this point in his career, he's literally going backwards. He's throwing to the other team. He's running a football field long backwards. So he decides to transfer to Eastern Kentucky. Now, this is not a Division One school. It's a tier lower. And he plays there for a year. He's the starter. And this time he throws for 2,100 yards, which is, I guess, all right for
200 a game, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 11 touchdowns, which is 10 more than he got in the previous 3 years. However, again, 13 interceptions, all in one season. So 11-13, again, in the negative there. Also, still in the negative in rushing yards, minus 40.
But they don't count that. They don't count in college. There's not some quirky rule where they subtract sacks from rushing yards, right? The sacks would be right?
Even if, I mean,
no,
it's different. Yeah,
these are actually really attempted running.
I would assume, he's almost going wildcat and trying to rush it.
How does this guy get in the National Football League?
Here's the thing: his team that year went 4-7, losing record, but somehow he led the Ohio Valley Conference in passing. Which lends to ask, how bad is the Ohio Valley Conference?
Because there's usually some decent teams there, I think.
Well, apparently not that year when a 4-7 quarterback did it. So our guy Tim Boyle, despite having way more interceptions than touchdowns, negative yardage on the ground, losing record, he's not shockingly in 2018 he is not drafted by any team, but somehow joins the Packers as a walk-on and ends up being the third stringer.
How can you be a walk-on?
Well, that's the interesting question. Like, does he have just an amazing agent that got him a trial?
He must be a really good dude. Like, he must be a really good dude.
Or he must be. Or do you have his height, weight sort of thing? Because the NFL, and no matter how crappy a guy's stats are, if he's 6'4", 220, or if you went to the combine and they always, because there's always a coach who thinks they can mold a quarterback or make a quarterback out of an athlete.
Yeah,
right?
If he has from what was that Kevin Costner movie, The Scouts? If he has a good looking girlfriend, it means he has confidence.
Draft it.
So, yeah.
Well,
so
I'll look up his girlfriend in a second. He is 6'4", 232. So
that's it.
I'm drafting him. I'm giving him a walk on.
You know what this? Oh, sorry. Go finish the story though.
Well,
stop.
The story goes as such that while he was with the Packers, he only completed 3 passes during garbage time. Another time he went in and just took 3 kneel downs because Rodgers didn't feel like it.
I could do this.
So, but I actually have a theory as to, because in the NFL now, he only threw those 3 passes, but he already had like minus 30 rushing yards. So what I'm thinking is this guy is actually a kneel down specialist. They bring him in at the end of the game and just sits and he takes knees, and he'll throw the odd pick sometimes.
So you have the sneak specialist, which is more common in the CFL, but happens in the NFL too now. And so this guy's just the kneel down guy. So if you need a kneel down guy, he'll come in and he won't screw up any of your kneel downs.
He probably has different techniques. He takes it out a little bit first.
Do you think you could successfully do it?
Yes.
Because I don't know if I could. I think I would fumble.
There was it the Eagles? Is their famous? Was it a kneel down or a fumble? Who was the Eagles quarterback who went on to ESPN all those years? Come on, Eagles 80s quarterback.
Jaworski.
Ron Jaworski. I think didn't Jaworski screw up a kneel down situation once? I'm not sure if it was. Joe Pistarchuk sits in my head for some reason. I'm not sure why, but there was the Eagles had a botched end of game situation, but they may have tried to hand off the ball. It may have been a botched handoff, but it was one of those kill the clock, take a knee situations. So 2 thoughts here. I think we could do it, Puff. You might be nervous and drop it, but you just need to take a snap from center.
Sweaty palms.
So I played. So I was the backup quarterback at my high school, right?
Okay.
I was really upset because I was supposed to be the starter.
That's why you have the plus 350 odds to win the balloon.
That's right. So I only had 2 years of high school football because my first 3 years of high school, I felt like I was too small and I was kind of scared. I'll be honest. I was scared. And then I played
academics.
And then I played and I realized, oh, this is kind of fun. You're wearing equipment. And so in the off-season workouts before grade 13, we had grade 13 back then in Ontario. Our starting quarterback, Eric O'Brien, he was your 6'4", 232 guy. And he was leaving grade 13. And so they were looking for a quarterback. And so I did all the off-season workouts in the gym, and I was going to be the guy.
Little extra.
Couple cycles.
I was cycling.
Yeah, nice.
I gained 128 pounds. I went from 140 to 268. No, so I thought I was going to be the guy. And then
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Did any coach give you any inkling that you would be the guy, or did you just in your head assume that you were going to be the next person? Like, did the coach say like,
no?
Hey, James, if you have a good off season, we're going to be counting on you?
He didn't tell me I was the guy, but we had 3 quarterbacks doing off season workouts, and I was measuring myself up against them, and I looked pretty good. And I was a lefty southpaw, and then nice. Coach Tovey, he gave me a brand new J5J for the winter and said, work on this at home with your buddies or whatever you can. So I remember Mike Vermette, who was just graduated, and he said, if Tovey gives you the new J5V, that means he likes you, so you're going to be the guy. Okay. So then Tovey happens to leave and go to another school that same year. Boom, nice. He's gone. My guy's out. And new coach comes in. Eric O'Brien. Eric, if you're out there, really good guy. I really liked you, but his marks weren't up to standard, so he comes back for grade 14. O'Brien's back. First tryout. Duffy. So we had one exhibition game, and I was just okay. I got like 2 series. I was just okay. I was a little bit nervous. And coach says, okay, Duffy, O'Brien's going to be the starter. But I was playing DB and receiver, so I was good. So I got in 1 series against Osgood High School. We were up like 20-0. So coach puts me in, and the first play is I throw a 4-yard in to my buddy Dr. James Aw, who's now a doctor in Toronto. 4-yard in pattern. I totally exposed him by throwing it too high, and he got completely cracked from behind.
That's when he decided to be a doctor to save himself.
He became a back doctor.
Feeling to his legs.
He was one specialist.
Nobody could. You know how you throw a guy open? That expression. Nobody could throw a guy open into coverage more better than me. He went from wide open to dead coverage. So 2nd and 6, and he calls it's like a sweep, but I'm running. I had pretty good wheels. Jimmy had pretty good wheels back then, and I run out of bounds, and a guy hits me. Probably it was a fair hit, but I thought it was a little bit out of bounds. So cocky that I was, I get up and I just toss the ball. I toss the ball at his face.
Oh, well done.
15 yards. Now it's gone from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 17. Jimmy's out of the game.
In today's NFL, you would have been suspended.
Yeah.
But as I always tell people, 1-for-1, 100% all-time completions percentage leader in the history of high school football at any level.
So basically, you had a better youth football career than Tim Boyle, and he's made $3 million in the NFL up to this point.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can make, you guys could look it up, but the 3rd-string quarterback in the National Football League makes about $800,000 a year, $1 million a year.
Probably, and that's the minimum. It's pretty much the minimum 800 or something like that.
I haven't looked in a while. I remember when Dave Dickinson was a CFL quarterback back when I was hosting CFL, and he went down to San Diego, and he was on practice squad, which is amazing to think. If you watch Dickie, he's a tiny little guy, but he made the practice squad for San Diego, and I think he was making $600 or $700 on the practice squad for San Diego. This is 20 years ago. And so, at that point in time when maybe in the CFL, maybe he was only making 2 or 3 or something like that, it made sense to do that. Mm-hmm. And
a lot less hits too.
Right. Now he ended up coming back and being a hero in the CFL afterwards, but because he wanted to play. But yeah, that's pretty good money for a guy with those kind of number stuff. That is ludicrous. And it also just shows you that as many schools that there are out there, there's not that many good quarterbacks, right? Like, how many great quarterbacks are in the NFL right now? 6?
I don't know. There's more than that.
Tom Brady.
Consistent ones? Yeah, I don't know if it's that.
Tom Brady.
Josh Allen.
Russell Wilson. Josh Allen.
Well, Josh Allen's, I don't know.
He's pretty good.
He's good.
But he's not great. He's not on Brady's level. With those
he's not. Well, no one is on
He's
Brady's
not even
level.
on Mahomes' level. And Mahomes
Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tyler. Why am I?
Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. I tried to black him out of my mind because he didn't play against the Niners and we still lost them. Kyler Murray. Who are we missing? People are probably yelling at their phones right now. But
Dak, are we include? Yeah, Dak.
Dak's there.
Dak's there.
But you include like
Wentz, not Wentz. I won't include. But you include guys who are good quarterbacks. There's quite a few. Then Wentz is I would find with Wentz.
You like that?
He's played well.
You like that?
Oh, Cousins.
Is
he? I guess he's
fine,
but he's not like
he's fine.
Yeah. So
and the young guys
put up numbers you can't win.
They got good young guys.
So let's say there's 20 really like good quarterbacks, either coming to be really good someday.
Sure.
Trevor Lawrence, those kind of guys, right? But
I don't
you
much.
got some decent backups.
Burrow's great.
But then there's a lot of teams that you get to their backups and they're terrible. Like Zach Randolph.
They're still in that. I'm pretty sure Cade McNown's still earning checks.
But that's the funny thing is like a lot of them, even though they're not good enough to ever start, they'll have a whole 12-year career of just being a backup. 3 years on this team, 2 years on this team.
Okay, Puffy, you get a full game. Let's just say I'm going to put the best offensive line in football in front of you and the best receiving core in football. Okay. All right. You get a full game no matter what happens against what's the worst team in the league this year? Jacksonville?
Okay.
Houston won last week, though. So
this is starting to sound like
did that knock you out of your survivor pool?
Yeah, I'm done. They knocked me out.
But it must have knocked out almost everybody, no?
There's like 30 people left.
Someone would have probably taken them earlier in the season, so.
Puffy was down to how many people in the survivor?
It was 134 going into this week,
and I think prize was $150,000.
Yeah, I think about half the people had Tennessee.
Yeah, that was a killer. That was a killer survivor pool game.
I made it to week 16 once, and lost. It, so
last year I did well too in it, but
didn't Kevin Pratt win a big survivor pool? Win like
probably that guy wins. That's all
40 grand or something like that. I think he got down to the last three. And they made a deal.
Yeah, you got to make a deal at that point.
Sorry, that's an aside. Kevin Pratt, another guy we'd still want to have on the pod someday. So, Puffy, you have the best offensive line in football, the best receiving core in football, and a full game against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I smell a trap game.
Can you complete one pass?
Yes.
Complete
for sure. I can complete a screen pass for sure.
Well, you're not. A screen pass is when they're
coming at you, buddy.
That's probably the hardest thing.
I'm hanging in there.
And then you're going to get it out of the outstretched arms of the 6'6" defensive lineman.
And then I'm going to reach out and let him, and then I'm going to tap him on the butt and say, like, nice try. We got 4 yards on that play.
And I'm not giving you.
I'm still hurting.
I mean, I guess you could do one of those where you take the snap and throw directly to the wide receiver right on the line and let him.
Well, you're still throwing that ball 10, 15 yards down that line.
Yeah.
That DB can just. I think a shuttle pass is your best option.
No, I'm not allowing that.
They're gonna be playing man coverage, and they're gonna be blitzing. And I don't read the blitz.
Let me change the line. You have to complete a pass from a standard drop.
Oh, I can't even be in the shotgun.
Oh no, you can. I just mean
the shotgun.
You have to complete a pass from the pocket. Like It's got to be.
You can't even scramble out to.
You can scramble. But I'm just saying you're not doing one of those take the snap right to the receiver. There's no shuttle pass right away. You have to drop back or take a shotgun snap and complete a pass past the line of scrimmage.
I honestly don't know if I would physically be able to see the receivers.
Yeah.
Like I would just have, I think that I would just have to like sort of go back a few yards more and I would just have to throw someone open. Like I would just have to throw it into like an area.
I thought you were going to punt it.
And I would just throw it into an area and hope that a receiver was running that thing. Because there would be no chance for me to like, the windows aren't very big there.
Your best bet would be to get them in a deep prevent late in the game.
Yeah, like if they were
a 3-yard hook.
Like if it was like a case where like I would get 100 million if I completed a pass, but all the players on the defense would each get like 5 million if I didn't. I wouldn't be able. There wouldn't be a doubt in my mind that they would win. Like there would be no chance to get a completed pass in there.
See, these are the kind of hypotheticals. Like I would pay to watch that. Like I would more than an average NFL game. Can Puffy complete a pass? I would watch that entire game. You stop.
You think?
Yeah,
gonna make
Isn't
that
that what
crap
Pros
happen.
versus Joes was?
I know, but they would
no
put
one
on a
watched
whole
that.
football game though.
Oh, so this would be at halftime. They bring the teams back out, and it's just Puffy as the quarterback.
No, this would be in like February.
Okay.
Yeah, after the season.
Instead
After
of the
season, you do
XFL.
gimmicks for the rest of the season, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Would you die?
I think there's a better
survive
chance
impact.
of me dying
Than
than
completing the pass?
completing a pass. Yeah.
I don't know about death, but you would have broken ribs.
I don't have a high. I don't have a high.
PTSD.
High school football is I wanted to play it so bad because I love football, but I was, like I said, I was intimidated because I was small. And then my very first play of high school football, and I may have told you guys this before, I'm on kickoff coverage and I run down the field and this big guy, I think it was Kareem Wilson High School, big guy, long hair. And I'm nowhere near the play. Like I'm just basically on contain on the other side. And he just punches me right in the stomach as hard as he can.
Wow.
And I just buckled, like he knocked the wind out of me, right? And that was the moment I realized that high school football, for a lot of guys, is just legal assault.
It's just aggression.
It is. It's all these guys, like all the, the sort of so-called old-time 80s stoners. Any big guy with no athletic ability, they would sign up for high school football so they could fight you and not get in trouble for it, basically.
Now,
Smarter.
You don't think that it's possible that just may have been Lindsay
that's
boyfriend?
true.
That's Leslie.
Future
That's
husband.
Leslie. You get that right.
Sorry,
all right?
Now, did the buzz around you maybe being the QB1 in senior year lead to any different females circling around?
Yes is the answer, because before I played football, there were no girls circling around. Literally none. So it went from none to a very small number.
Nice.
But I can remember Leslie. Leslie would. She was on the phone with like her cousin or something out west, and she's like, "Yeah, my boyfriend James. He's the quarterback for the football team this year." She didn't mention like backup.
No.
Or flag football.
Truth be told, Leslie and I broke up, and I think we broke up at prom or grad. And I'm pretty sure she might have hooked up with Eric O'Brien, the starting quarterback.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Mark Ward. Well, handsome man.
Mark Ward, I have the greatest. Did we tell the Mark Ward football story?
Did he play football?
He didn't play tackle, but when Mark Ward was on the pod years ago, do you remember? Do we ever tell our most famous story amongst all our friends is the Mark Ward touch football story? Do you guys know that story? Does it ring a bell at all? I saw something in your outline for the pod that made me actually think of it. Later. Okay, save it. It's a tease. We'll tease it. We'll get to the Mark Ward football story. Remind me a little bit later on. Okay, I'll mark it down.
Okay.
I'll mark it down. It's a good excuse to get to something we call things that I saw on Twitter.
Freaky pigs, strange chicks, world affairs, polar bears, fake news, nice shoes, big boobs, jack dudes. All of these things and more as I sat on the shitter. Things that I saw on Twitter.
Things we saw on Twitter. Now, I sent this to you guys. It's there's a company that wants to build one of these buildings in Toronto. It is a condo building, and it's very much like one they have in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that makes this unique is it's actually a condo building sitting on top of the water. So in Amsterdam, it's called the Silo Dam, and it's built on top of an old dam and silo, so that's why it's called that. And it's basically just a giant apartment building floating there. People live inside of it. There's communal areas such as a gym, library, access to the water by way of marina. It's a 160 unit housing complex, and basically they're thinking of putting one in Toronto. There's investors who want to make this happen at the waterfront. I looked up what it costs.
It doesn't move, right? It doesn't float around the bay.
It's like basically, it looks like it's still, but it's on the water. Like you would think that. Does it sway a little bit? Like, you know, it gets
for sure. Lake Ontario can get pretty gusty.
Yeah, a little.
Because if it doesn't move, then what's the difference between this and just a pure waterfront condo? Really nothing, right?
Well, the fact that you're on the water, though.
But when you walk down, when you go down your elevator or whatever, do you walk out and you can walk to shore? You don't have to swim or take a little rowboat or kayak or something,
but it's more like a bridge, I would assume, or something, because the entire building, there's nothing underneath it. It's floating on water.
I would probably go for it if I felt like it was safe. If you're not in, I wouldn't do it if I was on the coast of Texas or Florida where the hurricanes come, but Ontario, why not?
Because if it actually fell over into the water, you would probably be more likely to survive than if it just fell into like other.
I'm sure
other
that's
stuff.
the case.
Good point. Because it would just be like Puffy and I would just be like Jack on the Titanic. We just go to the top.
You go to the top and you.
Here it comes, Puffy. Here it comes. Don't let go. Don't let go. I won't let go, Puffy. Don't let
go. Let's just say there was zero chance you would have let me on that door and floating out in that frigid water. I would have been doggy paddling beside you.
Yes, you would have. Anyway, I vote for living there. I like it.
Well, all right. In Amsterdam, it only costs you $2,800 a month. So
$2,800?
Yeah.
2.8K? Okay, so $2,800 a month. Yeah, thank you.
I never heard it described as 2,800.
Yeah, all right.
Not quite 3,000. Alrighty. The next thing we got is this video that you can see on YouTube now. It's gone pretty viral in the past week. It's of a young lady taking a free kick, at which point she drills one of the members of the wall right in the face. The ball comes back to her. Second shot, second face. The whole video is pretty hilarious.
It's the best video ever recorded.
I think so.
It's just pure America's Funniest Videos, like it hitting the crotch stuff. But the
walk it off is the clincher.
The comments are great.
Yeah, like the walk it off. It's so good. Now, stop. You think that was added afterwards?
No, I asked if it was added on afterwards. I'm not sure if it was. I just find a lot of these videos when it's like the stuff he's saying is so funny and so well timed. It's almost like
it's got to have been apparent because there's nobody like whenever you're watching your kids play sports, there'll be some nasty collision or injury, and every parent's like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And the parent of the child is like, "Get up, you're fine." Like it's always so. That would have been.
This one here, what I found funny, it sounded like one of those parents that's just cheering for all the kids. Because he's like, "Oh, good form! You walk it off! You good form! Good shot!"
You'll send that. You'll send that out on the Rubber Boots account.
We'll tweet that out. We'll play it here.
I literally watched that 10 times and could not stop laughing. It's just so funny.
And they were like good kicks too. Like she got all of it.
She connected.
Just boom, boom.
I'll say the real loser in that video is the girl on the far right that leaves the wall as soon as the first kick's taken. Yeah. Can't do that. Kind of team.
It's gonna be hard to explain to your buddies in video.
Yeah, when they have broken noses.
Yeah.
As to why you took off. Moving on.
Continue along. I just have to take care of Hugo. You guys move along, and I'll be. See how you. Maybe we'll find out. We'll find out if Lester was the problem with you guys carrying on. We'll see if you guys do it.
Puffy
and stop show. Stop that, Puffy.
I don't think it was Lester.
We're gonna have a staring contest.
I got nothing.
Me neither.
It's like he's been gone forever.
Jimmy, come back.
Come back, Jimmy. Come back. And that's how I got AIDS. Oh, sorry. Just tell him stop a little story.
That's probably the best minute of podcasting ever.
Do we do the turkeys from Popeyes or do we take care of that with Roddy? So Popeyes, famous for its chicken, is now selling turkeys, right?
Yeah, they started this last year. It's only in the States. On Thanksgiving, you can get a whole turkey, basically made in the seasoning of Popeye's chicken.
That should be really good.
$40. Yeah, I mean, it's not traditional, but
I don't know if I do that for a family
one.
Just
want some turkey, yeah.
What do you mean you wouldn't do it for your family? You just do it for your own. You eat it in your car.
Like I mean, if I was like at a family event, I don't think I'm bringing the Popeyes turkey. But if I was by myself with like maybe just a buddy, I might be like, "Hey, you want to get a turkey from Popeyes?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Knowing what you've told us on this pod before, by yourself, I don't know what you'd do to that turkey.
It better be moist.
I think it comes stuffed already.
Yeah.
Okay, we better.
Move on.
And the butt fumble anniversary. 10
years. Anniversary, wow. Mark Sanchez.
Where is
only 10 years? I think he's ESPN.
Fox or ESPN. Right, he's one of the two.
I know he's on one of the networks. I couldn't remember which.
I was watching a game the other week, and they were actually doing a tease for the halftime show, and it was like they were playing off the butt fumble. It was essentially something like, Mark, don't say but, like the word but.
Mm-hmm.
So he seems to be okay with it now, but
it is a ridiculous
or they're bullying him, or they're bullying him.
I just don't understand it. It's honestly, I think it would be something that I would do, like, because he just looked like someone who had never played the position before and panicked and started running into things.
It was sheer panic.
It's like, what's going on, dude? You're an NFL quarterback. It's ridiculous.
I was going to say, when we were talking about you playing quarterback for a game in the NFL and could you complete a pass, my first NFL game that I ever went to in person was the 98 NFC Championship game between the Niners and the Packers in San Francisco. Brett Favre spoiled my dreams and beat Steve Young and company. And that was and I was on the sidelines for that game. And I could not believe, like, I'd been at CFL games before, but I just could not believe the size of everybody. And, both Brett Favre and Steve Young were not the tallest guys in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one thing I was struck with my first NFL game was, how the hell can they see anything? Like, how can they see? Like, and that's when I said to myself, this is the hardest position in all of sports. I don't care, bar anything, as quarterback in the National Football League. Like, the speed at which and the size of which guys are coming at you and the time that you have to find a spot is remarkable.
It's like when Flutie played in the NFL, for example.
It's ludicrous.
When he was on the Bills and the Chargers, the way they would set up their blocking packages was so that they could actually create lanes for him to see.
Exactly.
They would block. They would purposely.
That's what they'd have to do for Puffy when Puffy plays against the Jaguars. They'd have to.
Yeah, but unlike Flutie, I can't beat someone if they're coming down to crush me.
I don't know. You're pretty elusive. I've seen you. You're pretty elusive. All right, so that brings me to just 1 second. Yeah. 1 second. Hugo! Oh. What are you doing, buddy?
Oh, I heard slapping.
Pete is not going to like this.
Yeah. He's going to be on their top 10 most hated. Local broadcaster faces Pete
in hot water. Hot water with Pete.
TMZ will be after him for sure.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to end well for him. Oh, look who it is.
Say hi to Hugo.
Hey, Hugo.
I can't see him.
Yeah, just mark that down that it was season 8 where the podcast resorted to putting headphones on the dog to see if they could get any funny moments from that.
Season 7.
Oh, it's around this time that sitcoms started adding children and kids and children and animals to spice up ratings.
So, funniest Mark Ward moment ever. And Mark Ward's a very funny guy. So Mark was a really good athlete. Football wasn't his best sport. Really good hockey player, really good soccer player, but not a bad football player. But the thing so it was basically all of our friends who had a football team. And a few guys were really hardcore football players. And then a few guys were just buddies who we just wanted to have on the team.
Mm-hmm.
But we started getting better and better. And, Ottawa has a massive touch football league. And we were in like G division or something. And we won that and we kept working our way up. So now we're at the top division and our first year in it. And we make it to the semifinals. So we're in the semifinals and me and about 3/4 of the team took the very seriously. and way too seriously. This is the biggest thing. We had a chance to win the city championship at the top level, first time.
Pretty awesome.
So we're in this game, and basically we've screwed up, and they score a touchdown, and so we are down by whatever, 4 or 5. We're down by within a touchdown to win, and there's only a minute left in the game. They kick off. We do one play. We're at our own 20-yard line. Now there's 25 seconds left or 30 seconds left. So we're screwed. So Mark Ward's one of the receivers, and a guy named Brian Arden, unbelievable athlete, is quarterback. And so we basically run all the good receivers to one side. Mark, you just stay over there. So Brian scrambles around, and he ends up throwing it up. Mark's just at the sidelines. And there's 2 guys right on him there. But they both kind of misjudge the ball. It's a bit of a floater. And like one stumbles and one goes too far, and Mark catches it. And they're both down. So he turns and starts running down the sidelines. And I'm playing snapper at this point. So I'm in the middle of the field. I've run like a 30-yard pattern. And I'm looking around, and there's nobody there. But Mark is like running right on the sidelines, like running as hard as he can, right? And so I'm kind of running down the middle of the field. There's guys chasing, but there's nobody within 30 yards of him. And so I'm yelling, cut in, at the top of my lungs. But he's so excited and nervous. The ref is the only guy. The ref is right behind him. At the 5-yard line, he steps out of bounds.
No!
At which point the ref says, game, time's up. That was the last play of the game.
How are you friends with him still?
Wow.
There was no opposing player within like the 30-yard line. And he ran out of bounds at the 5. So this, like, I can't tell you how Brian Arden, who was the quarterback, who wasn't like really one of our friends. He was kind of a guy we drafted in because he was a good athlete.
Yeah.
And I can still remember walking him to his motorcycle and saying thanks for him playing with us. And he's like, what the f*** was he doing? I've never seen anything like that in my life. I'm like, that's just Mark, you know? And then, so we were all kind of pissed off, but you couldn't because Ward's such a good guy. And then that night he just called me like laughing hysterically. Once a few hours had gone by.
Yeah.
And it became like the funniest thing. For his wedding, we did a complete recreation, slow-mo recreation of the play. But to this day, we were texting about it last night with a few of my buddies. It's the greatest / worst play in the history of touch football.
And you know what?
Damn,
you guys would have won that city championship too.
Yeah, we could have lost in the final, but you'll never know, right?
You would have won. The
team that beat us won. So there you go.
And after a comeback win like that, the momentum would have carried you. You probably all would have had CFL careers.
Tragic. I found a bunch of old VHS tapes and stuff with games on them that I took them into this place in Toronto that will digitize old videos that you have. So I'm gonna have
game video of.
Yeah, I got some.
Do you have game
tapes.
video of this? Do you have this moment?
No, this one's not on tape.
Sorry, these are flag football or of your high school football?
No, these are flag football. Like I have an Ontario championship. I have a national championship game, and then I just have some city championship game.
Are these from when you were a child? Your dad when you were a child?
So we would play like we would play the finals. The finals would be on like cable, like what is now Rogers Cable, but in Ottawa it was like Skyline Cable. So there'd be like play-by-play commentary and like terrible analysis on the game.
Oh my God. Yeah. Now you have to get.
We now have to run this in its entirety.
This will be like this is what our podcast is going to become now.
Yeah, because there's actually a play with Mark Ward getting a touchdown, and Mark Ward was just a very average speed guy. But the commentator was this guy named Pappy, who was like a 70-year-old quarterback, and he's like, "Look at the speed! I've never seen speed like that in my life. It's the greatest
ever." You should
ever.
see him run out of bounds.
So I'll have to.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, maybe one episode we'll just play the entire game instead of talking about the pod.
Yeah,
it'll be what you watching. Jimmy's football.
30 for 30.
Okay, we got to go. We've been doing this way too long. There was one listener mail quickly.
Yeah,
Aaron Bennett. What is Aaron Bennett? Aaron Bennett says, "I can't believe Jimmy's still taking pain pills."
Yeah, 3 days. He only got 3 days worth. You were taking them a week after
Yeah.
He's basically calling you a...
I got a Candyman, though. Her name's Brooksy, and she just buys me the Tylenols at the store. So she was calling me soft, right? I've weaned my way off.
No, I think he was saying you're a drug addict.
Yeah, he did write a rubber boots intervention ? So
yeah, we may need one of those. I'm weaning my way off. I'm down to about 1 pill a day. 1 pill a day. Right. Yeah, but the scar.
How's the NyQuil?
It's the scar. The scar still feels like a. I was going to say lead pencil, but that has other connotations. But it feels like there is a 6-inch bolt inside my groin. Is that ever going to soften? Is it ever going to soften?
Well, you're 6-inch.
Don't run this clip out of. Don't run this clip out of context. Don't run this clip out of context.
There might be other pills for you.
You might need pills for it to harden.
I don't think I ever explained Lester has had family in town this week, so we gave Lester the week off. Lester, I hope we'll be back next week. We missed you this week, but it was great having Roddy on. And have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time on the Rubber Boots Podcast.
It's no sacrifice. No sacrifice. It's no sacrifice at all.
How does this sound? Does it sound okay?
A little echoey. And your face isn't moving for me.
Sound okay?
Oh, now you're moving. Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey, how are ya? I got a question that I really wanna ask ya. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? Oh, I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. And I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank or the fair? This is the part they call the bridge. A bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? Do you really like the dunk tank at the fair? Dunk tank.
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?